Hello and welcome to the second series of the day for the ProDota 2 National Cup. Here on ProDota and on Hitbox. This is going to be our first game between Ukraine and Germany. As far as who's playing for who, the Germany side looks more or less their official roster. Left is, I believe, his official tag and is going to be standing in for them. But for the Radiant side, they did have to find a replacement for Funnick as Navi is going to be playing against Alliance in about an hour, so they're going to have Golblack with them.
Yeah, so um, I think based on the last matches we've seen, they're probably going to play it a bit safer on Team Ukraine, but definitely potential for Germany to take a game off of them.
Absolutely. The last game in the first series we saw today, in particular, was a bit throwy. I'd say they went in just a little too aggressively and got cute with it. And in Dota, that's probably the best way to lose. It's just to, I don't know, toy with the game. If you give a lot of these teams any sort of shot, they'll definitely take it. And they got close to losing it, even though they had an obscene advantage to start things off. We're now in the draft, and hopefully it should be a good one. I'd love to see something unconventional when it comes to the picks. Although, as far as play is concerned, you're probably right. I'd expect Ukraine to be a little bit more reserved.
Yeah, but we've already seen a lot of success using that Shadow Fiend. So again, an opportunity for a Radiant Shadow Fiend kind of seems to be something really powerful that Aloha Dance has up his sleeve. So I can't imagine them not getting that unless it's banned out by Germany. Perhaps they were watching the previous matches.
Yeah, definitely a comfort hero for him, and a good way to start the draft, especially if you can back it up with something like an Earthshaker or a Dazzle. Earthshaker is a hero that I'm really surprised hasn't been seeing more play. The nerf to Fissure means next to nothing. A little bit of damage lost on the spell isn't consequential with the current way that the hero is being played. Maybe a little bit harder to offlane him and just spam out those fissures to get harassed in CS, but the Shadow Fiend is going to be first stage banned by Germany.
Yeah. Um, Pretty, I think it makes a lot of sense, that's clearly a hero Aloha Dance is very comfortable with and don't want to also give them that Radiant advantage. But we've been seeing there's a lot more mids in the pool right now just because of the nerfs on some of those very strong ones, like the Storm Spirit, like the Lina. We saw a pretty good Windrunner last game, so always excited for that. And it's the Night Stalker ban out.
I'm not super surprised. Nightstalker was already in a pretty good spot, but that extra HP regen makes offlane Nightstalker so much more viable. Puts his HP regen close to that of Ogre Magi and Nyx Assassin, both which also could be seen in the offlane. Nyx gets special mention. The increase to the duration of level 1 Vendetta especially makes him a lot more attractive as a roamer, as he's able to stay on the map almost indefinitely. Although I don't think we'll see that unless the enemy team goes for, or either team goes for a very spellcast heavy lineup. Is something to keep on the radar. Earthshaker going to be the ban, and so that Earthshaker Shadowing combo completely taken away by Germany.
Yeah, gonna get out that Earthshaker that we already talked about as being so powerful, but we have a lot of first picks. I mean, Dazzle's still in the pool. He's been getting first picked up pretty, well, sometimes first pick, sometimes next round. Also, we'd seen the Clockwork in a couple of series picked up super early. The Lena as well, she's been ignored a bit, but I feel like still a very powerful mid laner.
Yeah, maybe not first pick, but something to keep on the radar down the line. Clockwork, I think, is one of those heroes that probably should be picked up very often. Although there is more variety as far as the offlane heroes that you can run, Clockwork was completely untouched and is still very potent. I wouldn't be surprised if that's a first pick for either side. Maybe a little bit better for the Dire team, but regardless, still reasonable. It's going to be some reserve time eaten into, as Team Ukraine aren't going to find any of the heroes that they did first pick previously, but now it's going to be an Ogre Magi for them.
Okay, first pick in that. I wonder if he'll be off lane again. I think he had a lot of trouble in that lane because he was up against an anti-mage. He still did harass the anti-mage out of lane and reduce his farm. So perhaps if he's up against a hero that isn't going to steal all of his mana, we'll have a much better time.
Or maybe if he's combined with somebody that can either sustain his mana, like a keeper, or just keep him indefinitely inside the fray, like a Dazzle, or just anybody for the Ogre Magi in the top lane. They'd be able to make that dual lane work, even against something like an anti-mage that generally does give Ogre a little bit of trouble with that mana burn. Even though it might be played in the offlane, might be played as support, I'd expect this to be Golblack's hero, probably in the support position. Although, given these players, I have no idea how they're going to shake up their roles. This is not a lineup that's it really Team Ukraine at all? I mean, you do have Aloha Dance and Resolution there, but the rest of the players aren't even from Ukraine.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, a lot of these players in the region knowing each other, so I understand it. It's always funny though, as you mentioned, that trying to do a national tournament and we got people from all over. We got, of course, we just had a game with Yugoslavia who no longer exists, right? So
yeah.
got some funky business. Queen of Pain Tusk being picked in a lot of we saw him kind of ignored yesterday, I think, and now he's getting picked up a lot, which is kind of surprising. He got a bit of a nerf, but still seeing very powerful usage and suddenly feels like he can apply a lot of that, saving someone against an Ogre Magi, saving someone against a Bane maybe, but there's a lot of utility there.
Yeah, it looks like Resolution's gonna make a reprise on his position as the Bane. The Bane in the first game, although there was the or in the second game, although there was the Mask of Madness pickup and that was clowny, the Fiend's grips were on point. In general, the play was good. Although as a supporting duo, Bane and Ogre Magi is a little bit awkward, I'd say. They're very good at trading hits, very tanky heroes, and work well in that sense, but again, it's another game where Bane is kind of picked up just for the sake of having a Bane, rather than for the setup that I usually like seeing him played as.
Yeah, we haven't quite seen as well. There might be more stuff to come, which will really help set up. That Bane will really help set up. We could still be seeing some more big AOE ultimates, but now we're gonna get into bans, and I think I'm trying to remember if Bounty Hunter was banned last game. I feel like some teams still not sure exactly where he goes. We also saw an Invoker ban earlier, but it's gonna be the Phantom Lancer, and I imagine Team Ukraine against the awful game they had against Anti-Mage, they might just get rid of him as well.
A definite possibility, and we'll have to see what these next couple bans are going to be. Right now, I'm not sure if there's any super big tells for either side. Probably some pretty heavy focus on the safe lane farmers for either side. Anti-Mage and Spectre gets special mention as far as heroes that probably will be banned.
Yeah. So either way, yeah, Anti-Mage actually being banned by the side of Germany, which I think Ukraine likes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Free ban for them. I don't know if teams are just focusing on the carries, the hard carries right now. We're not sure where any of these heroes are going. Lots of flexibility.
Yeah, and as far as the direct synergies for either team, you probably would want some sort of AoE disable to follow up after the snowball or be thrown into the snowball or maybe follow up after the nightmare, but there's nothing that comes immediately to mind as an amazing pick. Something I'd love to see, although we're probably not going to see it picked up. Maybe an offlane Kunkka for Ukraine could be very interesting, or even a support Kunkka. I think he's a hero that deserves a lot more respect. The recent buffs are pretty massive, in all honesty, especially the cast time on boat. It feels a lot more fluid now, the combos.
Definitely. I also wonder whether the Witch Doctor will just be, that secure support pickup, or will actually be banned here. They did opt to ban the Dazzle. And so I don't know. Oh, okay. The Lena is finally banned out. But
She's probably one of the best heroes to follow up after a Bane, and is still very potent even after the nerfs. She has been ignored by a lot of teams for probably no good reason. I think a second stage ban on Lena is warranted.
definitely, we're going to see. I think a Witch Doctor is a really nice pick up here just because, the cost can help a lot against Bane early game before, of course, having that BKB. Bane not always a hero who gets BKB just because of the farm issues, but also helping your team sustain and also doesn't give too much away. So I'm hoping to see a Witch Doctor, but it could also be one of their cores that they're worried about picking up.
I think Witch Doctor is the safe route, for sure. It's the easiest way to progress inside the draft. Just show your supports early and make sure that you're not, I don't know, dropping all of your cards onto the table at the start of it all so that the enemy team can appropriately react to those pickups.
Do you think we'll see something like the Spectre? We've seen her twice in both games this morning. Visage wasn't super expecting that. Does have a lot of lockdown once he hits 6.
A big benefit of having the Visage this game is it's a great way to cancel out the channeling of the Fiend script. Just drop one of the birds over by the Bane, and also, although the change usually isn't super relevant, the AoE on the familiar drop is slightly larger, so it should be pretty reliable for them to cancel it out. And in general, Visage is a good support, even if he isn't partnered with anything, still offers a good mix of utility and especially damage. Although early he's very squishy, can also scale to be an absolute beast when it comes to tanking damage in the late game if you get the appropriate items.
Yeah, he'll definitely be rushing the Medallion Solar Crest build to buff up the damage from his familiars. I think not as strong maybe as the Witch Doctor, but Templar Assassin coming out, and this is interesting. I feel like she has an interesting time with Pop Mid. It comes down to the skill matchup, right? They can
Yeah.
generally tie it up.
It's very even, especially if sentries are pooled for either side. Neither of those heroes should be killing each other.
Yeah.
In all honesty, the meld should be very easily disjointing the stifling dagger coming up from the Queen of Pain, and sometimes queens even forego that altogether if you don't have a sentry yourself to deny away the vision from the Templar Assassin, which is used to then in turn deny away the Sentry War in mid. But yeah, I think that's probably a pretty even matchup in a vacuum. The thing that can change it is support rotations, and right now the support rotations from the Radiant side don't look good enough to convincingly kill off the Queen of Pain. Although if they catch her off guard after she blinks in, the kill is a definite possibility. Before the blink, Fire Blast isn't enough disable to where they're able to get the damage, at least
Do you,
until TA gets items.
do you think that this is a mid quap or an offlane quap? Because that's the other nice trick up. Okay, we now know it's probably not still 100% sure, but I was thinking you can always do something. The TA is out. You now know that maybe you pick up something like the Ember Spirit, who has a bit of an easier time burning off those refractions and will more likely win mid. We've also seen some teams try to run the Legion Commander mid. I don't think she has a nice time against Templar, but we've seen that overwhelming odds working, and it's a slaughter.
Okay. I really like this Slardar pick for a couple of reasons. Right now, it looks like the enemy side doesn't have the greatest amount of armor between them. Slark will scale later, but Queen of Pain especially, if she gets caught inside the crush with the amp damage, it's absolutely absurd. On top of that, you get the Templar Assassin meld to throw in, and it makes the synergy between those two heroes much stronger. They can take down Roshan, they can take team fights very convincingly if you have a Blink Dagger on the Slardar, and it's a hero that benefits very heavily from having the Bane in the lane. I'd expect this to be one of two things. You can either put the Bane and Slardar up towards top or safe lane farm the Slardar. Of the two, I kind of like the Bane and Slardar in the pressure lane. Against the Slark Visage, they could get a lot of work done, especially if Tusk is the other support. But back to the question about the Queen of Pain going mid or off lane. The option is there for Germany to do either. I think this game probably throw the Queen of Pain mid, but Cube is their usual Queen of Pain player, and I've seen him take it both places.
Yeah, and it's something where it's a bit of a greedy lineup to now pick up another of those cores who does want a bit of farm. But Queen of Pain offlane can be played a little bit sacked, and then you give a lot more to your Slurk and whoever else is another core. But it doesn't feel like with those two heroes, they should have enough damage between the two of them that you can pick a more utility offlaner. At the same time, not quite sure what's left in the pool that's good, although we have more viable with the new patch.
The Vengeful Spirit's going to be banned out by the Dire team. Germany's scared of that minus armor synergy again, and it looks like they're expecting the Slardar to be played as the safe lane farmer. And I think that's a reasonable assumption to make. We're not going to see it. I'd love to see a CK, maybe some more minus armor thrown in there with the Chaos Strike, but no, it's probably more on the mark with just like Venge being banned, and they'll pick up another support or offlaner here. Jakira will be the last ban coming up from Ukraine.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. We've seen already how powerful Jakiro can be. And I'm excited for, I mean, Slaughter had been picked up before the patch, but certainly something a little bit different. Certainly to see how this, I do think it's now an offlane Ogre Magi. We're not 100% sure yet. What else is left in the pool as offlaners? We've had,
Brood,
oh,
apparently.
of course, yeah. And she works really well here. They don't seem to have a good way to deal with brood babies.
Bane, absolutely terrible against Brood when it deals with clearing out those spiders. Defensively, it can be difficult for Brood to kill off the Bane with defensive nightmares and what have you, but the nightmare can be easily taken off by the spiderlings too. It really depends on how the lane goes. Bane is a tankier support, but offers nothing when it comes to wave clear. Ogre Magi, on a very similar vein, his spells are very single target focused, and even once he gets level 6 and does get the AoE on Ignite, it's not near enough to kill off those spiders. They're going to have to either camp the Templar Assassin down in Broodmother's lane or just risk losing towers outright. This is a great Broodmother game, and I think the only downside for the Brood is that the heroes, the Templar Assassin and Slardar, are good at catching out the Brood Mother as she's split pushing with a Blink Crush and with the extra vision offered by amp damage. There are its downsides, but 5th pick Brood is hardly ever a bad option.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how many of them she can draw and how many people she can actually tie up. Because, as you said, yeah, Templar Assassin Slot are good against her, but if she ties them up and spends a lot of their time, it's not so good. But there's the Wyvern pickup, and Wyvern, very powerful, got nerfed a tiny bit with that Winter's Coast no longer affecting BK Bead or causing BK Bead units to attack their allies, but still going to be exciting. I have to give this, I don't think the Wyvern's enough to deal with the Brood, so I'm still a little bit favoring Germany's lineup.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm kind of on the flip side of the coin. I think the minus armor synergy coming out from the Templar Assassin's Slardar is probably going to be enough to where they're able to get a substantial advantage. It really is that Brood X factor that's going to be the decider inside this game. I have no idea why it does this. Sometimes it likes showing my desktop whenever it's loading Dota. But we'll get back to the game as soon as possible. Apologies, Reborn client is still not 100% yet.
Yeah, it's okay because one of the players disconnected as well, so we've got a pause coming out. And yeah, most folks have just loaded into the game, so nothing too complicated going on there yet. It'll also be interesting to see how much Slark is a hero who can deal with TA or has fun dealing with TA a little bit because he does get those procs through refraction. He can use Dog Pack to get rid of refraction very fast. But against a Slaughter, things get really hard because as a Slark, especially if you go that Shadowblade first, you're really squishy for a lot of the early game.
Yeah, and even though he's able to take out those refraction charges, if Templar Assassin has a reasonable time, which he probably will this game, I don't see the Tuscan Visage being able to stop her from farming against the Queen of Pain. I don't see them really being able to convincingly kill her off. But still, it's going to be a bit of a toss-up. There are a lot of synergies and counter-synergies, and a lot of pressure is going to be applied onto these supports to pull things through. Should be a Solar Crest game for the Visage. They need any amount of armor that they can get against what the enemy team is bringing to bear with this semi-minus armor-centric strategy. Well, I'm still not loaded in yet. Are they unpaused?
I crashed
Oh,
twice.
I crashed again. Oh, dear.
Yeah, so I'm almost back in. I'm off the back of my second crash. Very exciting. I heard the sounds of pausing, so I'm not sure if that was the pause or unpause, because there was a pause. Nope, we're unpaused. We don't seem to have any engagements. Only 45 seconds till the 0 mark, but no early smokes. A lot of wards, a lot of mangoes. Resolution actually on that Ogre Magi, 2 mangoes. So I like it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so the difference between the two builds we've seen on Ogre today, the 2 Ring Suppression and the 2 Mangoes, one's investing heavily into the armor and one's investing heavily into the regen. And out of the two, it's really game specific. I think maybe Mango build would have been a little bit better for Funnick in the game that we saw earlier, but regardless, still going to be a super tanky offlaner.
I think here he's just going to say, I don't want to get hit at all, right? Because at some point Essence Shift will be up and then you're going to have a bad time. But Aloha Dance going to be getting that top rune. Bottom going to go to Cupe. And I get a third crash of the game. I think that they're sending the Bane again top to deal with the Slog, doing that nice little,
well, I've
you don't
loaded
get
in.
the last hit. Excellent. So you'll tell me if the Bane's up there and if they're just going to do that in Feeble business again, which is very
and it looks
rude.
like that is the case. In Feeble, I don't believe that can be purged off by Dark Pact, although I'm not 100% since I haven't seen that much gameplay. But yeah, we'll be finding out shortly. It's still incredibly obnoxious to deal with. This is one of the most annoying lanes in Dota. You have the Ogre Magi, which is incredibly hard to dislodge, and then the Bane just by himself is annoying, and then you have extra help. This is Gold Black Bane for this game. They're going to start putting the screws to Zinx's trading hits. Resolution goes for Bloodlust level 1, and the Slark has no real way to deal with this, but he does have a good amount of regen to sustain himself, but for how long is the question.
Yeah, and always kind of, as you said, it's the how long. We're gonna see if Zinex can do anything here. Visage, I don't think he has anything he can do to help him out in lane too much.
Really
Grave Chill,
surprising.
Soul Assumption, not gonna probably catch this Resolution. They actually pounce him under the tower. Never mind, luckily the tower's not hitting him, so Resolution's gonna be a-okay. He's gonna have to sit back and regen up. Oh, A little bit of old chat. Maybe just like, guys, come on. I thought we were chill up in this top lane. And they've actually sent up 3. With a Tusk, they can certainly get something done. Let's see if he can land an Ice Shard
Yeah,
of Dreams.
it's still difficult. Mid lane, I'm very surprised that neither of these players have been pooled sentries. But, yep.
Go Black up top taking a lot of damage, but now Zenex, he's gonna be that first blood. And they thought they were getting Go Black, but of course with that Enfeeble just making it, Brain Sap making it really hard, and now Resolution taking a lot of damage. They need 2 more auto attacks and they just can't get them. Oh, and he's regenning like a champ. But yeah, they kill off the Slog. First blood.
An absolute disaster for the dire side is Germany. Not only is that them not getting the kill, that was their rotation, they give first blood to a lane that's already hard to manage. Resolution now sitting on 800 gold in the bank. Back to mid lane. Templar Assassin's doing very well for herself, especially considering the fact that neither of these heroes were pooled a sentry. But without a sentry on the Queen of Pain, Templar Assassin will feel a lot more comfortable, but she's not actually gone for meld at all. This is something we've seen of Templar Assassins recently. Down bottom lane, ooh, a little deny coming out from FN. It was posting up aggressively on the Brood, but won't actually go for it. But is opting for the 2 points into side blades to help out her lane, and it's working in a big way. 13-7 compared to 5-3 is a massive advantage for Aloha Dance. I think the only way to put it is that he's outplaying his opponent. The Queen of Pain even had some help to start off the game with the Tusk sitting behind her, but that didn't change anything.
Yeah, and Luft also denied this last sentry that the Wyvern had, because she, of course, had to use one for dewarding. So Luft gonna have an easy lane, knowing that there's no vision down here. So...
yeah, so across the board, we have advantage for the Radiant side when it comes to their safe lane farmer. Despite the Broodmother not being under much pressure, she's also not applying much pressure to the slider. So the offlanes...
in levels, shortly.
Yeah, absolutely. She'll get to that point, but for now the Slider is able to farm, whereas the Slark's not. 5-1 compared to 17-4, it's not even close. Resolution is going to be Grave Chill up towards top. Brain Sap and Xyxis is just getting absolutely messed up. He has the Salve, he has the Tangos. I'm not sure if that's enough to tide him over till he gets his 6.
Yeah, Bane already has Boots, has that Mango. Boots on the Ogre Magi as well, just making them a lot more slippery. So... gonna be able to see what they can do, but yeah, Brain Sap, it's pure damage. There's also actually not going that Enfeeble build at all. Brain Sap maxed Nightmare up as well. Resolution taking some lost hits, but playing very aggressively, wanting to auto-attack down Zenex, and it's really interesting. He's going for the max Bloodlust again, completely ignoring Fire Blast.
Okay, so here's the thoughts on the different Ogre Magi builds. Maxing Fire Blast is probably not the way to go ever on an Ogre that's getting a lot of experience. When you have a lot of experience, you probably want to max Ignite for the more reliable damage, as it is until you get level 11, and by level 11 you should have maxed out Fire Blast anyway, but mid lane, they're gonna have to throw Snowball over onto Aloha Dance, pauses inside, the Ice Shards that he threw out, not gonna help him at all, he's going to end up going down. 2 for 0 is our kill score to start things off for Ukraine, up top Resolution dropping low.
Looking like the rotations coming out of Germany not latching, but, you know, still a good attempt. As if the Tusk can get another few levels, maybe he'll be a little bit more successful with these rotations. Yeah, it makes sense with the Bloodlust and the Ignite for the reliable damage. As a luck-based player, I very much go the Fire Blast, but you're completely right. And wow, Ogre Magi staying up here. He's got huge amounts of regen, of course, also
bottom
eating
lane,
a Tango.
they have detection on to the Broodmother. They're going to get the Crush to connect, and the right-click damage might be enough. She walks right into another Sentry, and the Splinter Blast will be enough. If this were a support Ogre, I think the case could be made that going for Fire Blast is a little bit better when he's going for rotations, but to just stay in this lane and poke as much on the Slark, I think this is the way to go.
And because of that shield and the amount of mangoes, he's feeling comfortable doing it again. Bloodlusting himself, going up and hitting. There's a snowball coming out on him, though, and this is probably going to be a very dead Resolution. Ice Shards come out. He manages to pick off Visage first slug, trying to kill him off desperately. Bloodlust giving him a boost in movement speed. He is juking around that corner. There's still going on in Bane, pounding into them while this happens. How is Resolution still alive? He's fighting it. Bane might actually kill Zenex first. Oh, Zenex is going to go down, and wow, this is devastating. Bane now trading hits with Tusk. Bane doesn't have, and he could pop that mango, though, to get more points in Brain Sap, but here comes the Quap, and suddenly Go Black realizing he has overstayed his welcome, doesn't have enough for Brain Sap, and he dies before it comes off cooldown, so wow.
Barely gets the Brain Sap with the magic stick charges, but not cast animation enough. It does force rotations, they kill off both of the heroes in the top lane, but then again they also trade 2 for 2. If you're an offlane dual lane, you're going to be pretty happy with that. The big winner here is the Tusk. He's going to pick up a lot of gold, 500 from that last exchange, and across the board, since the Queen of Pain does make a rotation, and they will get an advantage in that lane in a vacuum, but still Aloha Dance is left alone in mid lane and is still farming up a Storm. It feels like Queen of Pain this game is more or less an offlane Queen of Pain, even though she was laned in mid. Her presence when it comes to applying pressure on the Aloha dance isn't there, but Cube is known for making a lot of aggressive rotations, so look for that more as this game progresses.
Certainly always a positive thing, especially with kills counting more for farm than killing creeps. So in this mid lane though, Lohadon's playing very far up, Coop taking a lot of damage, but gonna be able to just walk it back. She doesn't want to engage, of course, while her fractions are up. Tusk is kind of hunting, but not latching onto anything, and yeah, Resolution just giving Slark a really bad time. Slark is 7th highest net worth. That's ridiculous.
It really is, and Slark, although he is a hero that can come back into the game, with level 6 is pretty survivable to stay out on the map, get some farm there, can clear stacks with Dark Pact. It's not as fast as the heroes coming out from the Radiant team. Templar Assassin will have access to Ancient stacks to accelerate her inside this game, and Slark's map presence is going to be severely limited once Slardar picks up his Blink Dagger, which it looks like FN's going to be rushing towards. He's going to get tagged by a couple of these spiders. That'll make sure he's not able to pursue for this Brood, but the Brood that we talked a lot about inside the draft isn't doing much yet, although give her another 5 or 10 minutes and then she'll be an absolute menace. The opening arises once Slardar does get the first item and starts making movements around the map. He'll pick up the power treads first, actually.
Yeah, these double sentries in lane, she actually threw some spiders to check if they were still there. Like, those are really hurting her right now. She does have a chance later on as things progress. Up top, we see another Ignite coming out, and it's gonna be that. There is a Tusk. He's rotating, though, towards mid. Gonna run into TA at the rune. Just gonna, of course, let her have it. Quap, though, now going down on Slaughter. There is a strike coming out, but Quap, she's taking so much damage. She needs to blink away. She actually used the Sonic Wave and then blinks forward. What a nice play. They get Wyvern, and now we see Luft doing spider things. There is a snowball coming in, and FN is down as well. And
Close
yeah, that's spider power. Yeah. I think she went down to like double digits, or like low double digits.
Yeah, the only reason she got down to that low amount of HP was because Slardar gets a lucky bash there. Yeah. If that bash doesn't happen, it's a lot more comfortable for Cube right now. Needs to have a dance a wide berth. No points in meld, so the Queen of Pain isn't going to go down. He should know that Psyblade Max is or business for Aloha Dance if he's been sitting in this lane, which he has been for a good amount. But still, another good rotation from the Queen of Pain, 2-0 and 1. Although her lane presence isn't that great, and Templar Assassin is the top net worth in this game. Queen of Pain is sitting at second and has had more impact for her team.
Yeah, also just taking a tower there, though, really big swing. And as you said, she's going to, Templar Assassin now going to go do Ancients. She is huge, and she's one of those heroes that can really successfully snowball, so you have to be very careful about letting her get so big with no one dealing with her. In the meantime, up top, looking like Slog, he's completely forced back, but they've got some rotations. Queen of Pain working her way up there. We'll see if she and Tusk can do enough. But there's the Fiend's Grip coming out, and maybe Resolution can kill Slog before he can blink. He does have the Shadow Dance, but not if he's dead before it, and he is. There is the Brain Sap. It's pure damage around the back, though. Here comes Cube gonna probably kill off Resolution. Oh, but the Nightmare up, meaning he can't. He's gonna just TP out. Are you kidding me? Oh, the Ice Shards just before. He TPs out just before it, and out. Do they have anything to stop this? They don't. They don't have the damage. Both of those heroes getting out devastating for this dire side. In the meantime, bottom lane, we've also got action down here. What's going on? Slaughter's being harassed by little spiders, but everything's gonna be a-okay.
Nothing too major down there, but up in that top lane. Although Queen of Pain up until this point has had a greater immediate impact than the Templar Assassin. One failed gank, and that really starts to swing back in TA's favor. The net worth, although Queen of Pain used to be sitting at that second slot, now makes one, I wouldn't say wrong move. I like that movement coming out from the Queen of Pain, but the presence of mind and the plays coming out from the Ogre and Bane to keep themselves alive, really huge. Wicked Sick under the tower, has no mana for the Cold Embrace, drops down to 20 HP. Winter Wyvern will survive, although only just, and now is a little bit on the stuck side. He can't show himself for fear of spiders, but it looks like eventually Wicked Sick will be able to find his way out of there and will survive. Close call, but still, no matter how you live, as long as you do end up surviving, doesn't matter too much. Up towards top, Resolution, as well as the Bane, are going to go at it again. 1-2-2 eventually is the build for the Ogre Magi, and I think this is good call. A moment really deep behind enemy lines. It's going to block out those Ancients for the Templar Assassin, but a lot of the damage has already been done. She does have 3 stacks.
Yeah, she'll farm that up, and sure, they'll block any more from coming out, but it gets rough. Bane looking to see what he can do. Oh, the courier almost spotted him, but gonna be fine. Ogre Magi
that was
still
his own
just
courier.
Oh no, I mean almost spotting a moment, but Visage a moment, but he TP's out. Either way, this top lane, I don't know what exactly you rotate up here to stop these two. This pair, they're
They're going to
They're in
try.
a lot of trouble.
They open
Yeah,
up
but
with a
there's
pounce.
void.
Queen of Pains from the sidelines. They know they're here. Can they get out a second time? They're holding the snowball to cancel a TP's resolution this time around is going to die.
Yeah, finally taking out that Ogre Magi is actually really big. We have about a 4,000 net worth lead coming out for Team Ukraine, but it's going to go down with that, and now doing stacks.
Yeah, Aloha Dance is getting really beat up here. The newly buffed Ancients are a little bit harder for Templar Assassin to do, but he should be fine. Fractions, their one Meld Strike or one auto attack ought to be enough for that last Black Dragon, and now is sitting on 3,000 gold. Oop, top lane, they're going to look for the dive, going for gold, Blackfoot with the brain sap, turn around under tower, Zinxis is low, has no pounce but does have the Dark Pact, he's going to juke into the trees, but they know he's here, FN's going to guess the wrong direction towards the north, and then eventually find him, crushed to the face, and now with the vision applied, with that amplified damage, they'll smack him down, Slark is going to die to the Slardar.
Yeah, definitely. Unfortunate. I think he didn't have mana for a TP though.
No mana for
Yeah.
TP, no mana for pounce, he was stuck.
Happens to the best of us. He tried to juke, didn't work out so well, but FN is farming way better than this Slog. This Slog is still right down in the dumps, despite having a lot of help from his team in them making him stacks. But not gonna work out, and so Slog, playing a Slog from behind, I don't know what you go to try and get back into this, right? I think you have to opt for Sanjay Nyasha instead of the Shadow Blade because you just won't have it at a good timing.
Maybe even goes back up for the catch-up Midas. Right now he does have a good amount of cost-efficient stats, which is kind of what's offered to you by the Sanjin Yasha right now. Bracer, Aquila. These are good items to have on Slark, but not 13 minutes in the game, and not when you're comparing yourself to a Templar Assassin that has a full Desolator that's flying out to Aloha Dance right now. Desolator on top of the amp damage, on top of the meld, is kind of stupid how much damage they're able to put out, but it's not going to be transitioned in anything yet. It looks like they want to go for Roshan, however, they're around the corner. They do this so quickly that if they know that they're undetected, they'll be able to snag it in just a couple of seconds. They probably expect the Dire Wards to be mostly protecting top, and since they know that their Ancients were blocked, they expect that there's not any support. Bottom lane, Sonic Wave and an auto attack will kill off the Winter Wyvern, but in a way it's space graded. They're going to lose a tier 1 tower bottom for this too, however.
Yeah, they might have gotten a kill, but as you said, Roshan going down, and oof, that would lickety-split with the amp damage, the meld, the deso, and now that is the blink for the Slaughter. He got a lot scarier just with that, and yeah, they got a bottom tower on Luft, but with a blink Slaughter, I don't know how much more space you're gonna have for that.
Yeah. It's so easy for them to catch out. Just put Dust. Sorry, doesn't even have to buy it. Just pick it up on one of the supports and put it on the Slaughter, get a Blink Crush, Dust, and then Broodmother is pretty much just straight up dead from there. They are going to have to pull back to make sure that these lanes go back into their favor, and the advantage is definitely not something that they can't come back from the Dire side, but ooh, top lane, they're going to look for Resolution, turns for the Ignite and Fire Blast, doesn't get any multicast, but even if he did, the damage would have been negligible with only a level 1 Fire Blast. Blink Crush going to catch out Boss. They'll look for this poor Tusk. He gets a snowball off within inches of his life, will go careening towards FN. One auto attack is all they need to see gets punched down. They have another Blink cooling down in 1 second. Blink Crush, if it catches out anybody, might just be a kill, but he's just short of catching out that Slug.
And that's, you know, the sacrifice from Tusk, trying to make sure that the rest of his team gets alive, back out alive, A-OK, and oh, what is Slok? He's just gonna finish off Boots, still hasn't revealed what maybe that next item is. He's got a Bracer, right? This is not the Slok you want to be. Visage gonna TP down bottom, maybe seeing if he can help out against this push, but that's a Deso and many illusions on Templar Assassin. What is your Broodmother gonna do? How is he gonna pop those refractions? Apparently just isn't gonna go in there with that ultimate. Visage now using that Grave Chill, gonna work on Aloha Dance, but will have refractions up in 7 seconds. Also has Meld, but they have vision? I don't know, but she uses that Meld Strike, and Brood suddenly almost dead, does go down. In fact, there's the Splinter Blast. TA has refractions again, now they have to burn through these. There's the Walrus Punch, but she was not only cold embraced, but still many refractions. TA Illusions working on Slug. Slug deciding Wyvern is the target that they are going for, and they managed to knock out Wyvern, but Aloha Dance just living through so much.
And still, as the Aegis now has a Blink Dagger up, if he had some backup, could very easily go for the re-engage. They have a Blink Dagger now on TA and Slaughter. If you have these two heroes on top of you, you're dead. I don't think there's another way to put it. For even the Queen of Pain who's sitting on Power Treads, Point Booster, and eventual Ogre Club for Cube, these help with your survivability, but not near enough when you only have 4 armor. Templar Assassin won't get the Meld Strike off, and the Visage Familiars will disengage this time around, but if there was FN on top of that too, it's not even close. Tier 1 tower mid going to fall in favor of the Radiant side, and it feels like Ukraine are very quickly pulling away with this one, and really a lot of pressure on the Brood and Queen of Pain. These are the heroes that are having an okay time to perform in the next upcoming minutes in this game, and this might help Invis Queen of Pain.
Yeah, really good net worth lead. Let's see if Luft can do any good defense coming out here. Again, Aloha Dance has refraction, but Ogre Magi too far forwards, getting caught immediately by the pounce. But Templar Assassin just blinks forwards, kills up Visage. There's a Sonic Wave coming out of Coop, doesn't hit everyone. Resolution still living on a tiny bit of life. Why aren't they finishing him off? The baby spiders are coming out. The ice shards finally do get the kill. Coop now has to blink away, does have the little hat on her, but the amp damage not going to be enough. But there's the Winter's Curse. She's going to kill off her Slog. She does. Now she still needs to get away, but there's a Slithering Crush and she goes down. Luft also has the amp damage. Everybody can see you, Luft. You need to get out, and this Slaughter taking over the game as along with the TA.
The fight does get very spread out, and it could have been a lot worse for the Dire team. They trade the Aegis on the TA and 2 kills for 3 kills, and in fact get a better goal exchange.
They're done actually missing the Slithering. I think he meant to blink, but it got cancelled by the Familiars, so FN not able to latch onto Luft, but almost catching Luft out again, and finally the amp damage is gone.
The 2-2 tower is going to be denied. It's still a strategic victory for the Radiant side, but when it comes to the situation in this game immediately, Dire are going to be happy with how that went. Germany trade even, and when you're behind and when you're fighting into Aegis, that's pretty good. Drums are finished up on the Slark. This is probably about as cost efficient as you can get when it comes to your Slark item build, so he's still able to have somewhat of an impact, and he's getting there, although right now he's being almost doubled up by the Templar Assassin's net worth.
Yeah, Go Black almost has his Glimmer Cape up as well. This is going to make it harder and harder. They don't really have any detection coming out. Of course, you're the ones with the Broodmother and the Slug. You're not as worried about that detection. So Glimmer Cape going to make the Brood have a lot harder time, everybody in that whole team, securing kills, but especially the Brood, who likes to just run down heroes, but with a Glimmer Cape, where are you going to find them?
If Goldblack initiates from Fog with the Glimmer into Fiend's Grip and isn't detected, it'll be really hard for them to cancel it. The stuns that they do have do connect in an AoE if you line up the snowball correctly or if you have the Visage Familiars, but you need to know where the Bane is for that to happen, and some fights it's just not a possibility. Really, there's a lot of pressure on on a moment, excuse me, to cancel out that Fiend's Grip channeling. He needs to save one of the Familiar stuns for it.
Yeah, and this is the second draft today where we've seen a bit light on the stuns and maybe coming back to bite them. Stuff like Witch Doctor's ult channeling, not in this game, but was in one of the lost ones, and also now the Bane's Fiend's Grip. No ways to stop that. You can't play into this. So, feeling maybe like they need to pick up Yules to try and get themselves some more disables. In the meantime, bottom's being pushed and Broodmother just going home, not wanting to deal with this, saying the tower's gone, they have a TA with a Deso.
It's too scary. If she gets caught up by the Crush, it's all but over from there. The detection situation for the Radiant side, they have detection on the Slaughter as well as on the Winter Wyvern. They will crush, but that was just a quick creep wave. They'll take down that tower very easily. Now keep on going for the tier 2, but potentially at the cost of some structures for their own. If they can defend this tier 2, it's alright for Germany, but it looks like it's going to be a 2-for-1 tower trade. Any day of the week you'll take that.
Yeah, and Germany, it's 2 for 2 technically because they also got the 1 at bottom, but at the same time, Germany getting rid of these mid and top structures does mean that if they have engagements around there, TPs are further away, and especially this mid tower, really important for Germany to get out of the way. Just frees up a lot more what their Brood can do, but they're not stopping this push. They're still going, and they've got this bottom tier 3, half health, below half health. It's gonna fall in this engagement. Moment comes in, there's a leap, a pounce, it doesn't quite latch, and now Ogre Magi, he's coming back in. Resolution, really tanky. We've got Gold Black, he's getting ready to Fiend's Grip someone. Was stunned for a moment. There's a Winter's Curse as well. There's the Sonic Wave as well on Resolution, taking a lot of damage. He is finally going down in that Cold Embrace after the Soul Assumption. Where is this Fiend's Grip? Gold Black not seeing any way to drop it, so Wicked Sick, Gold Black, Aloha Dance, FNO just gonna back out. But a very costly tower defense. They did, in fact, lose the tower, and now this Rax is exposed. We just talked about it. TA has a Deso. Slaughter's fat. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, what once was a 2-for-1 tower trade in the favor of Ukraine turns into a 2-for-3, and since they get the tier 3, they're going to be really happy because of it. Aloha Dance has a double damage run on the Templar Assassin. That's absolutely terrifying, and even without investing his 3,500 gold in the bank, has most of the items that he needs to be effective this game. If we see something, I don't know, I'm not sure what Aloha Dance is going to end up settling on as next time, but if we see like a Daedalus or a BKB, pushing high ground again is a definite possibility once Roshan is up again. Both of the teams, however, have good ways of scouting out Roshans between Spiderites and the Visage Familiars and the TA traps. Both teams should know when it's available.
Definitely. Cupid, the other thing I'm interested in, once this big push starts happening, Cupid does have the Aghanim, so that should help at least. You know, you should be able to clear the creep waves off the towers all the time. But next item looks to be a BKB. I don't know, there's a lot which goes through BKB here.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised too. Both of the ultimates coming out from the supports go through BKB, but just stopping the Crush and the Fire Blast coming out from the Ogre warrants the pickup, but it's not the end-all be-all for the Queen. She really needs a plate mail item too. Actually, the pickup for the Templar Assassin is going to be a Sanjin Yasha. This is a bit of a middle ground item for Tien. I'm not sure if I like it absolutely, but it's still pretty darn good. It fills a lot of different roles, and when you're not sure what to get, if you pick up a Sanjin Yasha, most of the time you'll be pretty happy with your purchase.
Yeah, I think she just doesn't want to be too gloss cannon. It tanks you up a ridiculous amount for the cost, right? And gives you other good utility as an agi hero. So I do like, oh, she's going, she's got that haste, she's trying to see if she can catch anyone, just gonna catch the creep wave. All the baby spiders are still chasing her, but need to be a little bit careful. I'm also wondering if Broodmother, what do you do at this point? You're a Broodmother, you kind of got to, do you abandon the split push? Do you, has a Manta, do you try to go for this team fight? Like, what is going on if you're a Brood in a game where your bottom lane, is being pushed again?
Yeah, it's really hard for the Brood. The Manta style is a nice item for both of those scenarios, whether you're split pushing or fighting, but double multicast.
Yeah,
nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, and now
they get the Crush, they catch out a moment, more Desolator shots, and they'll also lose the Visage. No supports here. How do they defend this melee barracks so they don't double damage Geo, make quick work of it, with the Bloodlust too, accelerating that. Broodmother's trying her best to push in mid, but I don't see much stopping them from sticking around and taking out another set. Blink Crush, nobody's there, they won't fight him, but the tier 3 tower not going to be so lucky. That's going to be at least the further cost. Now the chance for Germany is there to catch people on the retreat.
Yeah, finally there's a Sonic Wave coming out. It does go through that BKB, but QB again getting stunned up by everything. Multicast as well onto the Winter's Coast target. Now Slog taking a lot of damage is popped into that snowball, but they are 2v4, 2v5, and it feels like they're against the world. Slog does manage to pounce out. Own charge popped on him. Pass trying to get away in that tusk. They're killing off the sigil so they can catch up, and yeah, with a blink forward, there is nothing to stop this TA. And just looking like they've rolled over them. Certainly another Rax. A moment goes down as well. This is going to be another Rax. They can take the top tier 2 as well. Slug trying to pounce and at least get a kill. Does manage to catch up Wicked Sick, but another multicast coming out. What do you do against all of that? The Visage Bird's falling as well. Slug is brought back. Last ditch attempt. He's 1v4. I don't know if there's anything he can do to save this Rax. Maybe a desperate pounce in. Visage Birds, they could drop in 6 seconds, but no, just a Rax going to go down. And they're finally going to back out on the side of Ukraine, but
another very snowbally game coming out from the Ukraine team, but this one's a lot more reserved. They're taking things slow. Although they are diving under these towers, they're doing it as a team, and they're taking objectives. Aloha Dance at attack speed. My goodness, with Bloodlust, Moonshard, Sanjin Yasha, he's hitting so quickly. Not something you usually see from TAs. Generally, it's about the burst damage, not the sustained damage, but TA, this game has both. And now in Aegis, too.
Yeah. So I don't see her dying any time ever. So really hard there. They're gonna have a desperation smoke gank. If they can get something big out of this, of course the game will be prolonged, but if this goes wrong for them, they're gonna catch the Wyvern at the very least. She can Cold Embrace, but this Essence stack still stacked. There's also the Glimmer Cape coming out. There's the Nightmare on Gold Black, coming out on Coupe for Gold Black, but they're gonna manage to pick off Aloha Dawn's actually going down. Blunk in aggressively, I think thinking that could do more on that TA than she could. Does she have the blink away? She does have the blink away. Who is up there to catch? No one. The Slithering Crush coming out on an Atonement. Slug immediately pounces, but there is the BKB Atonement going down quickly. Sonic Wave coming out. FN really low. They do manage to pick off FN. That's really big for them. Aloha Dance now also taking a lot of damage. Doesn't have another set of refractions coming up in 1 second. Is going to be able to pop them. They don't have detection. Broodmother goes down to Bane in the meantime. Aloha Dance finally dies to the Slog. There's also going to be an Ice Shot shutting off Resolution. He's going to go down as well. The Explorer's punch up. He is tanky as all get up, but Slog is going to get this finished off. Pick off Bane maybe. Gonna help out. Does have that Enfeeble out, but they're going to catch him again with one of the Familiars and Quap blinking forwards. Coupe doing amazingly. Their base is taking a lot of damage too though. Slaughter buying back. Maybe going to kill Coupe if she's not careful here. He does put the amp damage. Gonna catch Coupe. 2 more hits. 3 more hits. Needs it. Does manage to get the kill, but this might be FN's life. So much damage coming out of the Visage Familiars. Can he get away for long enough to get the blink? I don't know. He does manage to get the stun. Again, there's the Winter's Curse coming out. Looks like Slug might be able to get out. Where are the birds? They're going to kill Go Black. They need to do some damage to Slug so he can't blink away. He Slithering Crushes no one. He blinks forwards into a Walrus Punch. There's also dropped items. Poor Man Shield Drill. He can pick up the gem. And now Slock has a gem. Slaughter chasing down Walrus Puncher, and he is gone and picks up an invis. But still, I think a really good fight coming out for this Dire lineup.
That
They
was
lost a
so
mid tower
messy.
though,
Yeah,
and they're gonna lose another tier 4.
No, I think Broodmother should be able to save the secondary tier 4, but that was super messy coming out from Ukraine.
And
It felt
Slock
like they
isn't
were...
stopping. He's trying to still catch FN. He's trying to run around. He has no more mana. I think
no
he's
way
just
that
gonna
he
lose the
catches this.
gem.
No, he's not going to die to the Slider solo, but then again, neither of these heroes should go down. He's going to try juking through trees, but he has the BKB, and we'll have another blink in a second if the Visage Familiars don't stop. He's stuck inside the corner. FN might end up going down. The Slark wants to stick around here, but now Templar Assassin is respawned. Blink away by FN into the trees. Will TP out. Now Ziggs is going to be stunned. They have 2 Fire Blasts here to stun him in place. Templar Assassin will make quick work of the Slark, although it did look like that fight went pretty well for the Dire team. As you said, the tier 4 falling is going to mean that they don't have very well-equipped heroes to defend, and now Slark down for 70 means that stopping this top lane push is going to be very hard. Even through backdoor protection, Aloha Dance is doing damage to the tower, and now that the creep has showed up, it's not going to be long for this world. That's nice. Maybe the start of a comeback, and it is going to be a pretty substantial swing of about 5,000 gold in their favor, but not near enough. When you take a look at how their heroes function, Slark and Queen of Pain are too snowball reliant to be down super creeps this early on.
Yeah, I think just an overextension. It happens, he wanted to get that kill, unfortunately didn't manage to make it, lost the gem. He did get a huge amount of gold though. As you said though, no buyback and a slog. It's not like with the Spectre where it can do a lot of work. It's just a slog. It's a Queen of Pain, and unfortunately the Broodmother as well. But let's see. They do have this Lost Hold. They do have that big Sonic Wave coming out. One Visage Familiar dropping down, stunning Aloha Dance. Aloha Dance needs to be careful as well. There's going to be the Blink forwards, the Crush. Pel's taking a lot of damage with that Meld Strike. Pretty much just gone. In the Snowball, actually managed to save his life. Multicast coming out, and Coupe there twice. 3 times multi-dose. That Snowball gonna stop up the TA, but gonna immediately get rid of that punch damage with the refractions. Coupe now falling as well. She doesn't have buyback. The Visage is down. Luft taking a lot of damage. Is stunned up again. These multi-calls is insane coming out of Resolution. That's a very dead Slaughter on the least, but at the same time, can Sloak really do this? He's gonna maybe kill off Wicked, but he can't see her. Finally gets her up. Another multi-cast killing off Broodmother. And now, will they get more multi-casts coming out? There's an Aghanim, so he can use that unrefined Fire Blast. Doesn't actually, goes into the base for it, gets the multi, and gets it 4 times to pick him up in the fountain.
Resolution, can he get out? Not with the Soul Assumption. He is going to go down, but that was a stupid amount of luck there.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, he does have the Aghanim, so it's easier, but yeah, a Visage who doesn't have bird summons, I don't think he and his one familiar can stop this push. Gonna give it a try though, gonna see if he can get any nice drop downs, and we don't have buybacks for quite a bit of time, so don't know what we're gonna do. Trying to stop Aloha
Look at
Dance.
the damage coming out from the side blades onto a Moment. Now, a Blink and Meld Strike. He's not going to be able to get the Meld Strike immediately, but a Moment is going to end up dying. Aloha Dance should be able to mop up at least one of these barracks, but maybe more importantly, the tier 4s are dying. Queen of Pain has to pick her fight, and right now she's going to choose to fight Aloha Dance. I'm not sure if I like that choice. Melee barracks are going to die. She has to protect their throne. For all intents and purposes, this feels like game over. I don't think Dire can pull it through at this point, but they haven't called GG. They're gonna look for the last raw Sonic Wave, Scream. They'll put a Nightmare onto Aloha Dance. That's a misclick if I ever did see one. Snowball forward. They'll try to pull off these creeps, and they will succeed at saving our Ancient for now. And they haven't lost, but yeah, they've lost. They're going to call it. Good game, well played. And that's going to be Ukraine with a much more reserved victory in game number 1. Feeling the effects, Octarine Core Ogre. I would have loved to see that in action, but yeah, we'll move on to game number 2. Well played. It really felt like nothing went right except for the Broodmother and the Queen to a lesser extent, but they never got off the ground.
Yeah. A good game though. Lots of action there at the end, and unfortunately the snowball. But we'll be headed into a game 2, and I'm excited to see whether Team Germany can maybe either maybe pick a little bit better. I don't know exactly what they needed, but rally themselves and win this game 2, hopefully, so we go 1-1.
Yeah. If they can tie this series, that means a lot for them inside the groups. As Ukraine, much regarded to be the favorites inside their group as a whole, would have tied with every single team, so they'd be out of the running for that first slot. We'll be moving on to that game in just a second, so stay tuned here on ProDota.